Hello everyone, and welcome to the X-Ray Tony wannabe channel. I've got an amplifier here. It's a Hitachi stereo amplifier HA-270. It's not a high-end model by any means. I think it's a regular, decent, standard amplifier. I believe end of the 70s? Wait, let me check. Yeah, 1978, according to Radio Museum. And what I usually do when I encounter some new equipment that I don't really know, to have a bit of an estimation where it is located in the product range of the brand, I most of the time try to find the catalog from the same year and see if it is in there. And yeah, if it is low-end, high-end, mid-range, these kind of things. So how do I do this? I go to archive.org and then I search here, in this case for Hitachi, catalog 1978. See if you find something. Yeah, here, Hitachi 1978 Hi-Fi. I guess that will be fine. Let's see if we can find this amp in the catalog. Okay. These are tuners, I guess. Yeah. Ah, here it is already, the HA-270. Let me see if I can show this a bit bigger. Yeah, so see, here we have 4 different models of amps, and here we have tuners. So we have an HA-250, the HA-270, then the 330, and then 5300, I don't know what this is. So then you see that it's not the cheapest model, but it's not the most expensive one either. So it's a 2 times 35 watt, 2 times 35 watt. This one is 2 times 25, 2 times 35, 2 times 50, and this is 2 times 80 watts. So it's not budget, I guess, but it's for Hitachi lower to mid-range. Always nice if you can find a catalog with, yeah, to know a bit where it is positioned in the product line. Well, this amp is owned by a friend, and the complaints are basically related to the switching, I think. It doesn't always work, and when you wiggle the tape monitor switch, it starts working again, or you need to select the function switch, and I guess the controls will also be dirty. The amp itself is also a bit, yeah, needs a bit of a clean, the front panel, so it should be fully working, but it needs an overhaul or a bit of a service. So what I am going to do here is first of all clean all the switches, get them working reliably, and then start looking if we need to start replacing capacitors and checking if the amp is functioning correctly. Just basically do a general checkup on the thing. So I'm just going to power it on. I already plugged it in directly in the wall socket, no isolation transformer or dim bulb limiter, because I know it works. Let's give it a go. And you can clearly hear the protection relay coming in, that's already good. What I also notice is that we don't have dial lamps here. Both dial bulbs are probably gone. I don't have any speakers connected, so let me first check the DC offset on the speaker terminals before I connect my speakers. Okay, so I've let the amp warm up for 10 minutes or so. And let's see what we have on the speaker terminals. It's about 50 millivolt. And on this side, yeah, also about 50 millivolt. So that's not great. I mean, it would be better if it's a bit lower, but at least that means the amp is functioning and it's safe to connect my speakers. So let's do that. I also noticed in the meantime something else. See here, these terminals, they are loose. It's the tuner and the aux terminal, probably something broken off inside. There's also a screw missing here, so I guess that's what's broken off. Phono and the connections for the tape, playback and record, they are still fine, but these two, they are loose. Okay, I do have now speakers hooked up and some... Yeah, I did hook something up to the aux input, my tablet, with some royalty-free test music. And let's see what we get here. Okay. What can we see? Well, I only see the left meter working here. I only hear one channel working. Balance control doesn't do anything. Okay. Oh, no, they are both working. See? So this tape monitor switch is indeed very dirty. See, now it's gone again. I only have the left channel. Come on. The balance switch seems to be working. These also seem to be working. So it looks like the amp is working, but yeah, I also hear some crackling in the volume control. If you go to phono, I don't know if you can hear it, but it's quite noisy. It's picking up quite a bit of noise. A tuner I haven't tried. It's quite crackly. Okay, I guess we know what to do. So I'm gonna start by opening this thing up and having a look what's inside. Okay, so that's what we got on the inside. Everything looks pretty okay. Yeah, it's a bit dusty, but that's to be expected, I guess. Needs a bit of a clean. You see here you have these switches that I want to clean, so that board will have to come out. Some capacitors that I will probably swap. 2 filter cans. These are 5600 microfarad at 40 volts, I think. Yeah, 40 volts. So we'll have to check those. Power transistors. See, here is that socket that is loose. And that's because, yeah, see, this bracket broke off on one edge here. So I'll have to come up with something to fix that. Yeah, let me give this a first quick clean and then we can continue. Okay, I'm removing the front panel here because the PCBs, they are bolted into this side of the chassis, which is covered by the front panel. But as you see, the VU meters, they are fixed to the front panel as well. So I will need to desolder these 4 wires here. Now, luckily, I don't really have to make notes on which wire is where, because see, all the points are labeled. So you have point D, B, point A and point C. And then here on the schematic in the service manual, see, you have nicely marked that, see that point C is the green wire, point B is the pink wire, point A is the red wire, and point C is the light blue wire. So, and it matches, which is, I checked that it matched with what is in the service manual, but I'm just gonna desolder these and then I can take off the front panel. Okay, so I've got the front panel off, got the meters out. Now it's a matter of loosening these 2 screws here, and I guess also, this switch, and then also the screws at the back here, which hold the input sockets and the PCB in place. Why do I always misplace my screwdriver? So, and it's 2 small bronze screws in the front. Oh, this one is tight. No. I need a different screwdriver for this. Maybe this one is better. Yeah. Much better. Okay. That's already loose now. Well, let's try to loosen this guy. Okay, see, that's totally loose. Great. Now on the back side here, see, you have quite a bit of screws here. This is the one that broke off. It's this black type self-tapping screws for plastic, because they are screwed in the plastic holder here. Yeah, this one is also, this holder here is completely broken, also on the bottom as well. So that's going to need a bit of repair. Maybe some ingenuity to fix this, because it's all plastic that's broken, so it's not gonna be easy. Okay, so I think I also need to loosen the volume control, because see, that's all connected here in one piece. So back to the front. Volume, oh, that's a smaller nut. Yeah, that's a 10, the other was a 12. Okay, so this is loose. Yeah. Now, how do you get this out? See, there is a broken part here. And one of the, it just fell down. See, this holder here is completely broken everywhere. So I am going to try to come up with something, or I will need to come up with something here. How does this, do they really require you to push this back? Okay, well, yeah. That feels really dodgy to take it out like that. Okay, I've got it out. The problem, however, is that it's everywhere connected with wires, and now it's just floating here. So it's connected with these cables, and they are pigtailed along these pins. So let me see how I can remove those, or at least this one. This is simply a ground cable because it's connected to a ground point in the chassis. So this one I should be able to remove at least. Okay, so I removed that ground wire, and now you can clearly see how bad the state is of this entire bracket here. It's almost cracked everywhere. See, even here, this is the phono. Also, both screw holes are cracked. On this side, there is also part of the plastic bracket is cracked off. This one is completely destroyed on the inside. Yeah, the only one which is intact are these two over here. That's the tape in and out, the tape record and the tape play, probably because these have never been used, I think. So I'm going to need a bit of ingenuity here to get this fixed. And now it is a matter of getting these switches here cleaned, these 4 switches. Yeah, that's also a bit of a challenge, and I have to check first how to get these off or opened up, or if I can clean them like this. I don't think I will be able to clean them like this because especially these two, they are completely closed. So yeah, I will have to check. Okay, so this board has been recapped. I used high quality Panasonics for this board. I think the originals were not that bad, but since I'm in here, they were only slightly out of spec. Since I'm in here, I'm gonna recap everything anyway. The switches have also been cleaned. I didn't desolder these from the PCB because I don't think it would have made a difference. I don't think I would be able to open them up anyway. So I just cleaned them with contact spray. Same for this switch and the volume pot. Now for the volume pot I did use a much less aggressive contact spray. So I have this guy over here. This is Tuner 600 from Contact. That should be much less aggressive contact spray, especially for hi-fi components and for usage on sensitive parts. So I do have the experience that this is not great for cleaning like switch compartments of tube radios that are very oxidized. For that you really need a more aggressive contact cleaner, so that doesn't work at all on there. But I do believe that on a volume pot like this, I hope it works, and then I don't need to take everything apart here. Okay, so that's that. Here, this bracket, we're gonna come back to that later. Now the next thing that we're gonna do, and it's actually the first thing that you should do, but I'm gonna do it now because I now have access here to the main PCB, and that is checking the power supply. Let me show you something that I noticed here. See these resistors over there and those guys over there. Can you see how the PCB is discolored here around them? They have been well done. They have been cooking quite well, I think. So we'll definitely have to check that. They are, if I checked correctly, yeah, they are dropping resistors to drop the voltage in the power supply. See, these are even a bit loose. See? So we definitely have to check those. Look at this. That's not good. I think the traces might have come loose from the underside of the board due to the heat. So that definitely needs to be checked. And then we have the power transformer, and obviously I'm gonna check if I can put it to 240 volts, because these days here in Belgium we are not on 220 anymore on the mains. It has been increased over the past couple of years, and we are now at most of the time 235. So I'll check if I can set it to 240. Okay, let's have a look at the schematic here. So this part of the schematic is our power supply. I'm not sure if I can bring it in a bit closer. Yeah, it's not your eyes. It is slightly blurry, this print, but okay. So this is the power supply. Here we have the power transformer. Then we have our rectifier and our big filter capacitors. So 2 times 5600 microfarad. I'm gonna still check if these are okay. We have our B plus and B minus, and if I read that correctly, we should have 36.2 volts plus and minus. It's difficult to read. The schematic that I found wasn't super sharp, but okay, it'll have to do. And then here you see this bank of resistors, and that's the one that are cooked on the PCB. So it's each resistor here is 1.5K, here as well. So I guess this is just the dropping resistor, and then we have here some Zenners to regulate the voltage, and then we should be at 13.2 minus 13.4, I believe, is what is written here for the B plus and the B minus. So yeah, I think we need to check these resistors over here, because they are well cooked, and maybe I would suspect that they are also out of spec, and that we will need to replace those. First thing I'm gonna do is measure these two voltages, so 36.2 and 13.2. Okay, so I've got the amp running here for 5 minutes, and I'm gonna check the voltage just after the rectifier. So that should be plus 36.2 and minus 36.2, and the easiest way to measure it is just to measure on one side of these cooked resistors. I'm on AC. Okay. 36.4 minus 36.4, and the other side plus 36.4. So that's actually really close, but remember that we now have 234 volts going in instead of 220. So we are 15 volts too high in our input voltage, but our rectified voltage is very close. See, 36.5 instead of 36.2. And it's fluctuating a bit. It's going up and down a bit, but that's interesting. That's actually not too bad, but okay. And on the other side of the resistors, these dropping resistors, we should have 13.2 and minus 13.4. So here should be 13.2. There we have 14, which is slightly high. And here we have 14 as well, minus 14.1, which is also slightly high. I would have expected it to be a bit higher even, but I think maybe it's to do with some leaky capacitors in the power supply that the voltage is lower than expected. What I'm going to do is not switch the power transformer yet. I think I'm going to do a recap of the power supply. So we're going to get this PCB out, the main board out, and we're going to recap everything. And then we'll measure again and see how high we really are. And then we're going to switch it to 240. And these resistors here, they are, yeah, I cannot touch them with my finger. So they run really hot. So I'm also going to do something about that. 14. So yeah, that is slightly high, and if you can take that down a bit, even a couple of percentages, the amp will run cooler and everything will have a bit of a longer life. So I think it's a good idea to do this anyway. But that means the board here has to come out, and that's gonna be a bit of a challenge as well. But I don't think we can avoid doing this, because there are some capacitors here also quite close to this area of this hot resistors, and these capacitors, they also feel very warm to the touch. So I can imagine that these are also cooked and that they also need to be replaced. So yeah, I don't think we can avoid it. The PCB is out. You do need to loosen the transformer so that you can shift it a bit backwards. So then you can shift also the PCB backwards, then you can get the knobs loose, and then it can just fold over. And see, it's still attached to the chassis, but it can just fold open like this. So I have now, it's a bit of an train wreck at the moment. But here we have the PCB, and see, here you can clearly see that we need to do something about these resistors. Even the bottom side of the board here is cooked, and you can also see that these solder joints, they are completely loose. So I don't understand how this can still work. See, these are, I have cracked solder joints here everywhere. Here it's a bit less, but here it's really bad. So yeah, we're gonna have to figure something out about this. I don't know what wattage these resistors should be. Any case, I don't have power resistors like this in stock, so I would have to order these. So I cannot complete this amplifier in this video, I guess. Same for the filter cans, the filter capacitors. They are, what was it? 5600 microfarad at 40 volt. I also don't have that in stock, so I would also need to order those. So yeah, but anyway, I'm just going to go ahead and recap this board as much as I can, and then order the components that I need, and then yeah, that'll be for a second video, I think. Okay, so this entire board has been recapped, except for the filter cans, those I still need to order. And except for these two little guys over here, they are .22 microfarad. I also don't have these in stock, so these also need to be ordered. But for the rest, all caps have been changed. Most of them that I pulled out were still quite okay. A large part were about 20% out of spec, so they are really on the edge of what I find acceptable. But I was here, so I decided to change them anyways, except for a couple. Let me show you. Yeah, I also pulled one of the filter cans, just out of curiosity. All right. So this is one of the two filter cans. So this should be 5600 microfarad at 40 volts. Yeah, 3900. So that one is definitely to be replaced. So yeah, and then there are three others that I found which are quite interesting. This is a 100 microfarad at 6.3 volts Nishikon. 71. So that went low. Usually I see caps going high. This one went low, and quite significantly as well. And then these guys here, those are 10 microfarad at 16 volt. Yeah, they're just open circuit. See, if the other one here, same thing. open circuit. And these two guys, they were over here, so really close to this problematic area which got very hot. So I guess they're just cooked. If I put them in my other cheap tester here, you'll see the same thing. So it's not a problem with the tester. The 32 picofarad, so yeah. So these are totally dead. Let me show you on the schematic where they are located and you'll understand. See, so we are again here in the power supply section. Here we have our resistor banks that overheated, and then we have here our Zenners, and then after the Zenner diode C, you have here on the B plus and the B minus, you have a capacitor, 10 microfarad, smoothing cap, I guess, and it's these two. They were just totally cooked. So yeah, it goes to show that you can never just say, okay, my amp is working, it doesn't need any work, because this thing is from 1978. Yeah, it's good that we had a look at it actually, because it was still working, but I don't think it would have been working still for a long time if you see the state of these resistors here. Now what I also did is gave this board a good clean and the heatsink, and it's looking really nice now. I also cleaned all the switches and pots here. Still have to have a look at the headphone jack. That one, the back plate is loose there. So I will also give that one a clean. What I still need to do is clean the chassis, or yeah, the cabinet itself. Not going to be too much work, it's only a bit of dust inside. And then I think, oh yeah, the front plate as well. I can also still clean the front plate, but then I'm stuck for the moment until I receive my new components. One small remark about recapping. When you're changing capacitors on a PCB like this, always double check the original position of the capacitor and what is the correct position. Don't just trust on the silk screen or what is written on the board, because I again found here one for which the silk screen on the board was swapped around. See, so when I corrected this, positive and negative, so yeah, be careful, don't just remove capacitors and then trust on the original printing on the PCB to put them back, because there are mistakes, and it's definitely not the first time that I encounter a mistake like this on a PCB. Okay, I also gave the cabinet a good clean inside and out, as well as the front panel. See, that one turned out really nice actually. Also the knobs, they went through the ultrasonic cleaner and they also turned out almost like new. So that's great. But that's it for the moment, because I'm stuck now. That's all I could do. And I can only continue on this amp as soon as I have received the components that I will order. So I'm gonna leave it at this for this video, and I hope to see you again in the follow-up, where we can hopefully finish this amplifier. So if you'd like to see the result and you're not yet subscribed to the channel, please subscribe. Otherwise, thanks that you're already subscribed. Thanks for watching. If you like my content, don't forget to like the video, and then I hope I'll see you in the next one. So take care. Bye bye.